As Zelensky runs to the US to lobby for more weapons and air defenses, Ukraine loses another town on the Donbas front, feeding a grim narrative of retreats at home while diplomacy unfolds abroad. Russia announces victory in another Donbas settlement, loudly hyping battlefield gains in eastern Ukraine to offset the impact of Ukrainian strikes and to project momentum to domestic and foreign audiences. Zelensky begs for weapons while Putin marches on inside Ukraine, as Russian forces keep pushing in Donetsk and Luhansk even during high-profile US-Ukraine meeting-ins and stalled ceasefire talks.
We speak about missiles, and really through now we spoke about senators about it, so that Ukraine really can produce everything which can destroy everything from Iranian to Russian drones and etc. We have drone interceptors more than systems of electronic. Real problem is anti-ballistic systems and anti-ballistic missiles. And of course I shared what we need, our needs. I shared it with the president today, and we are thankful for him for this meeting.
Months after the contested fall of Pokrovsk, are Druzhkivka's pillars now crumbling under relentless shelling and drone attacks, turning yet another frontline town into ruins and shuttered homes? Russian forces have entered the Ukrainian town of Druzhkivka, according to battlefield reports that describe fighting spreading into the wider Kostiantynivka, Druzhkivka area. Details of this fresh advance were reported by Sputnik International on July 28, which framed the move as another step in Moscow's push through the Donbas fortress belt. The Russian battle group said, and I quote, "While Ukrainian propagandists continue peddling claims that Kostiantynivka is still ours and that the Russians haven't even come close, our units are already moving steadily forward." Unquote. Druzhkivka lies between Kostiantynivka and Slavyansk in the western part of Donbas, forming part of a critical cluster of towns on Ukraine's defensive line. Moving into Druzhkivka puts Russian forces at the doorstep of Ukraine's defensive bastions, bringing them closer to the heavily fortified fortress belt that shields Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, and surrounding areas. Since 2014, Ukraine has developed a fortified defensive belt in key parts of the region, building layered trenches, obstacles, and strongpoints to slow any Russian advance. Ukraine's defensive belt has been anchored around Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, Druzhkivka, and Kostiantynivka, creating a 30-mile wall of fortifications in western Donetsk. In December 2025, Moscow claimed to have captured Pokrovsk city, widely considered a gateway to Donetsk and a major logistics hub for the region. Russia had been eyeing the capture of Pokrovsk, called Krasnoarmysk by Moscow, for months, with Putin repeatedly highlighting its strategic value in televised briefings. Pokrovsk functioned as a key logistic hub for Ukrainian troops in the Donetsk region, sitting on vital road and rail lines that fed the fortress belt to the east. For Putin, control of Donbas is one of several non-negotiable pillars of any peace deal, with demands that Ukraine concede all of Donbas and parts of so-called Novorossiya. However, Putin's demand runs directly against Zelensky's red line of maintaining Ukraine's territorial integrity and refusing to formally cede occupied regions. Strategically, control of Donbas provides a land corridor linking Russia to Crimea and the Azov Sea, tightening Moscow's grip on southern Ukraine. The territory also expands Russia's ability to project power into southern Ukraine and the Black Sea, supporting logistics, missile bases, and naval operations. Holding Donbas gives Moscow leverage over Kyiv's future alignment with NATO and the EU, allowing the Kremlin to pressure Ukraine's foreign policy choices from a stronger position. Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Zelensky met with US President Trump to demand more weapons and air defense systems, hoping to reinforce the fortress belt just as Russian forces press closer to Druzhkivka. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said he spoke with the US President about weapons aid and the urgent need to strengthen Ukraine's air defenses during his Washington visit. Zelensky stated that he highlighted Ukraine's need for anti-ballistic missile systems and interceptors, stressing that this is now the country's real problem in defending its cities.
Well, first of all, we are very thankful with senators, and we are very thankful for this discussion. This discussion was with ideas of how to help Ukraine, and we are thankful that this bill is very important. Sanctions pressure on Russia is very important. And really is not only about money, how to stop to finance this war, but is also a big signal to Europe, big signal to Ukraine, big support of our people. So I'm very thankful. God bless, we'll have positive result. Will Ukraine receive war missiles? What was the conversation with Donald Trump? We speak about unintelligible missiles, and really through now we spoke about senators about it. So that Ukraine really can produce everything which can destroy everything from Iranian unintelligible to Russian drones and etc. We have drone interceptors more than systems of electronic, unintelligible. Real problem is anti-ballistic systems and anti-ballistic missiles. And of course I shared what we need, our needs. I shared it with the president today and we are thankful for him for this meeting. And now I shared it with senators. So we will try to manage it. It's a big challenge.
He said the July 28 meeting with President Trump at the White House was good, describing productive talks on air defense and broader cooperation, according to reports. The Ukrainian president added that licenses for Patriot interceptor production were discussed, building on Trump's earlier decision to grant Ukraine the right to manufacture Patriot missiles domestically. Zelensky also said that the diplomatic process had to be reinvigorated, signaling that military aid must be paired with renewed efforts to end the war through negotiations. Notably, this fresh request from Kyiv comes at a time when the U.S. is dealing with a broader weapons and air defense ammunition shortage, worsened by heavy use in the Iran war. Meanwhile, a major Ukrainian iron mine has suspended operations amid continued Russian strikes on merchant shipping that have crippled export routes. The iron mining complex in Kryvyi Rih halted excavation work on July 28, with reports linking the shutdown directly to Russia's attacks on Black Sea shipping and port infrastructure. The Southern Mining and Processing Plant said, and I quote, "The Southern Mining and Processing Plant has begun the process of suspending production and temporarily reducing work." The decision was made due to the constant attacks by the aggressor country on civilian merchant ships heading to Ukrainian Black Sea ports. Several shiploads of iron ore, which were supposed to be exported, accumulated in both the ports and the warehouses of the Southern Mining and Processing Plant. Due to the inability to accumulate the extracted products, the plant was forced to temporarily suspend its work. Unblocking logistics routes for Ukrainian Black Sea ports is an extremely important task for the sustainable operation of not only the mining and metallurgical industry, but also the entire Ukrainian economy. We call on state authorities to take maximum measures to protect port infrastructure and merchant ships from enemy attacks." Unquote. The plant is co-owned by Ukrainian billionaire Rinat Akhmetov's Metinvest Group, which holds a major stake in the Kryvyi Rih iron mining complex.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a banking dynasty meets tides of world history, intrigue, and a dash of myth?
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.